What's up YouTube? Georgia Silver Hunter back, and today we will be doing a $100 customer wrap nickel hunt and album fill. I'm really looking forward to doing some nickels. It's been a good long while since I have, at least a few weeks. And I'm looking forward to getting into them because I've done a lot of half dollars and I've done some dimes lately and lots of quarters. So this should be fun. Let's get these pushed back and let's jump into it. So before we jump into those nickels, I did want to show off the album really quickly. We are, for the most part, wrapping this up. I've got maybe, I don't know, about 15 holes left that are non-proofs. We've got, let's see here, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, if I counted that right, nickels from 38 to 47, with the majority of them being those silver war nickels. We've got a couple 3 here, 49S, 50D, and 51S, and I did get a 50D from DJR the other day, so I technically could fill that up, but I'm going to try to find something in a coin roll hunt, and if I just never do, I'm going to plug that one in here, but I do have that set aside. Outside of that, it's all proofs, all the way up to the 2009 Philly. I cannot believe how long it's taken me to find that nickel. So with that said, that is our album. And for those of you that are curious, you can get these on Amazon. I don't think I have a link to it in the description below, but I'll put one out there in this video. I don't think it's in my previous videos. But this is a Whitman album, and you do end up having to buy a couple extra pages for it, because I want to say it ends like around 2003, or at least when I bought it, it did. I had to buy these extra couple of pages to add to it, and it is a little pricey. I want to say it was like 25 or 30 bucks, 40 bucks, something like that to do it all. So we are also showcasing one roll at a time. His coin Matt, he sent me this maybe a year ago, and great guy. He does mainly half-dollar hunts on weekends, and he does a lot of the shorts where he hunts coin machines for the return tray, and he finds a ton of stuff, amazing stuff that he finds in there. So we will use his mat today. And the last thing I'll point out is these are customer wrap rolls, and I'm only a little concerned because a couple of Fed wrapped rolls have this kind of end on it, which is typically from some other coin roll hunter who didn't have any extra wraps, so they ended up trying to reuse the Fed wraps. So anyway, with that said, we don't know what's inside them until we open them up, so let's get to it. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do that first one that I pulled out here, just to see. Maybe there'll be a bunch of 40s and 50s in here, and these didn't come from a coin roll hunter. Let's see if I can get them out. Give it a quick look here at anything that's dirty. I can't even see the year on that. That's a 94. Just looking for something old. There's a current Buffalo. A lot of these are newer looking. Here's a 64, not a Denver. Otherwise, we'd look at the back for that double die reverse. I'm not seeing anything too old in there, but it is a good mix of old nickels and new nickels. So I'll go off camera and I'll hunt for some key dates, hunt for some varieties, and hunt for those couple of nickels we need. I do have a document in the description down below of all the varieties I'll be looking for. And we're going to pay special interest for things like Buffaloes, V-nickels, and War nickels, which are 35% silver. So anyway, hopefully I'll see you guys soon. Real quick, we're on roll number 7, and we have our first indication that these weren't hunted, simply because we got a dime wrapped up in there. So not a common mistake I think coin roll hunters make, because usually you hunt a denomination at a time and you pay attention to stuff like this. So we'll call it a dime on the hunt. I did notice while looking through my Whitman book, I never did pull a 2022 P and D from last year, so I have a couple of contenders up here. And I've got a bunch of stuff that looks really, really nice that could be upgrades that I've just set aside. But other than that, it's just been a lot of kind of new nickels. This isn't helpful, but we've made a dent in the bucket. We're 13 rolls in, and we've come across our first find. This is how it came up, but of course I had to turn it over to see what year it is to know that it was a find. It does look really old, and it is a 1940, and I believe that was a Philly. Yeah, we have a 1940 Philly, so our oldest nickel of the hunt, first 40s. Same roll, a couple of nickels later, maybe 10 or 12, we have our next find. It is a 1958, and actually pretty darn good shape. For a 1958 nickel, it is a Denver, and the Denver does have a RPM on it. Let's check it out here together. Get under the scope there. And I don't think that's going to cut it. It's an ugly D, but probably not an RPM. So I just got roll 15 rolled out in front of me, and I was laying it out to go through it, and something poked out at me that looked really old. Let's see if I can get it to focus. Right there, 1941. Let's see here if we got a Philly or a Denver. We got a Philly. So now we got a 40 and a 41 on the hunt. We are well into this hunt, and we are just not finding a whole lot, but I did, on roll, I think this is like 31, come across my next 50s nickel. We have a 1953. Looks like it's a Denver, and if I look at my list, the 1953D does have an RPM. I don't think we're going to have it on this one. Let's put it under the scope real quick. Yeah, I don't see it. All right, we'll put it on the board and get back to the hunt. So we have so few rolls left, we don't need the bucket anymore. I think we're on roll 33, and we did come up with our next 40s find. It is a 1941. It has seen better days. Let's see here. It is a Philly. I think the last one, was the last one a Philly too? It was. The other one's in much better shape though, but it is our third 40s on the box. So same roll, about halfway through, and we've got something kind of exciting here. See if this will focus. Look above that monument. We have a mint mark on the back, which means this is a war nickel, and it is actually in great shape. Look at the, I mean, usually these things turn kind of a tarnished brown. When it first came up, I almost didn't even recognize it. This is a great looking war nickel, 1942. Look at this thing. That may, if it doesn't go in the book, it's definitely going in a flip, because that is a great looking war nickel. So we have silver on the box. We're on roll 40, and we have our next find. It actually did come up obverse facing. It is a looks like 1959, so we just barely made it as a find. And it's a 1959D. We'll put it up on the board. It's our third 50s of the hunt. So I just dumped out roll 42, and we've got a couple of old ones in here, and one of them looks kind of suspicious. So let's see here together. That one's just corroded. That looks a little bit old. It's just a 90. That just kind of had the patina of something older. Look at that. We got another Philly above the Monticello building, the memorial. Let's see what year we got. We got a 1944, so second war nickel on the box. That's pretty cool. We're down to roll 46, and we have our next find. It came up obverse facing. I've looked at it because that's how I know it's a find. You can see on the back that it is a Denver, and we have a 1956, so it's our fourth 50s on the box. Well, all in all, this was not a bad little hunt. We didn't get as many finds as I think we normally do in a Fed Wrap box, but I think the quality of what we got today was fantastic, especially since this is a hunt and fill series. So I'm going to start down here. Everything you see here, I've already checked against my book. These are all going to be upgrades, except these last two. They're actually additions. But I got some great looking nickels out of these customer rolls. Here's a 1960. This 68S just looks amazing. Here's a 1975. And many of these, I know in the later years it was easier to get, but a lot of these had full steps or very near full steps. So... and that's actually how I had to tell the difference between what I had in the book and what I found here is, you know, we had a little bit more hair detail, and some of these either had full steps or very near, so these are going to end up being upgrades. But 1985, we had an 87. I know I'm not reading out the mints, but there's an 88. Let's see here, 92, we actually got a Philly and a Denver to upgrade the book. This 94 Denver is going to be an upgrade. This 99, I think that was a Philly, was going to be an upgrade. And this 2000 Denver, I've upgraded a couple of times, but again, it just came down to, and I know the newer coins are easier to find full steps, but the one I had in there, I think had a prettier obverse. I just think the curb appeal is a little nicer on the front, but we had full steps on the back of this one, and the reverse on the other one was really kind of beat up. The other thing I'll say is, and I think I mentioned earlier in the video, I actually didn't pull any 2022 Philly and Denver, so those are going to be additions to the book. On top of that, we did get a dime, so we made a nickel there. I had 2 war nickels, which lately I get like 1 war nickel in a box here and there, but we got 2 in this one, and both of these are going to be hole fillers. And I'm going to show you the book after I punch them all down. The rest of these, I think I had 1 upgrade. I want to say it was going to end up being this guy. This 1941 was going to be a little bit of an upgrade. The rest of these I can't recall. I'll double check. I'll let you know when I show you the book, but I did pull you in for every single one of these finds as we went through the box, but we had a couple of 40s, and I think we had 4 or 5 50s, so not a bad hunt. You may ask, what do I do with my 40s and 50s? At some point, I got so many of them that I ended up returning a bunch to the bank, but now I'm starting, I realized I'm a little low on my 40s and 50s, and these things do have a surprising amount of copper in them. So I have lately been hanging on to all my 40s and 50s nickels. And of course, we always hang on to our silver war nickels. These 2 are going in the book, though. So with that said, let me punch these things down, and I'll bring you back in and show you what the book looks like when it's all updated. So here we go with the album after plugging everything in. As I said, we filled a couple of holes here. I won't remember them all, but I think this 42p and the 44p were both additions from this hunt, leaving us with just 4 of the war nickels left. The 38s and 39s have eluded us ever since I've started this album. I've found a whole bunch of these. I have found, I think, all of these war nickels in boxes before I actually started filling this album. And unfortunately, I'm only trying to fill this with stuff that I'm finding during the series. So these holes will remain open until we find them again. But here we are with the 49S, 50D, and 51S that are missing. And then from here on out, like I said, we had a bunch of upgrades. The 68S, I remember, was one of the upgrades. The 75, I remember, was one. We had a bunch on this page. But they're coming, this book's coming along really, really well. All the open holes you see now, these are all proof slots. And I actually have proof sets. I was thinking about going ahead and cracking all those proof sets just to fill in this album, because I've got most of these years, at least in the 70s and 80s. And maybe even into the early 90s. Let's see here. Coming through, the only other holes that we really have that are non-proof is this 2009P that continues to elude us. And I was able to go ahead and slot in a 2022P and D. So other than proofs, I think we've got like those, whatever it was, 8, 9, 10, 12 holes left at the front of this book. And we'll be able to call it done. Let me know in the comments down below. Should I pop all my proof sets open just to fill this nickel album? I suppose I could then use that to fill all my other, I could get some other proof books for halves and quarters and pennies and that sort of thing. But let me know in the comments down below. What would you do if you had all the proof sets? Pop them and fill them in, or just keep it, coin roll hunts for this entire book. With that said, I hope you enjoyed this video. This was a lot of fun. At first, I didn't think we had that much to show for it, but I love any time we can fill a bunch of holes in this book. I think that works out. If you did like the video, drop down below, click that like button, leave me a comment. If you're new to the channel and you like coin roll hunts, don't forget, I have a playlist for all my nickel hunts. You can go back and watch this from the beginning. If you're new, click that subscribe button. Click that little bell and select all so you get notified each and every time I release a new video. I hope you guys are doing well. You guys take care, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.